Hello cricket and welcome to the ZaltZone World T20 Special, Episode 2. I'm Andy Zaltzman, reporting live from ESPNcricinfo's secret bunker underneath the Earth's crust where cricket rightly reigns supreme. And, well, it has all been happening in the men's tournament in Bangladesh. Actually, that's not technically true yet. They've had 20 games out of 32, I think. 62.5% of it all has been happening in Bangladesh. The main group stage is now at the almost halfway mark, but are we actually any closer to knowing who is going to win this tournament? Well, not really. Bangladesh and the Netherlands are looking long shots now, just as they were looking long shots before the tournament, and indeed about 30 or 40 years ago as well, when the other 8 were looking in much better shape, particularly if you'd read the runes in South African politics correctly. All of the others, though, they could win it, but probably won't. Clearly how the could in they could win it is said varies significantly from team to team. Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India, they could win it. New Zealand, they could win it. England, they could win it, but still the point stands. Ask me again in a week's time when the semi-final lineup is complete, and I might be able to give you, I might not be able to tell you exactly who's going to win it, but I'll be able to tell you damn straight which 4 teams have the best chance, and I'll also give you the names of 6 more teams that are really looking very unlikely to take home any silverware. The crowds have been massively enthusiastic, and in the England-New Zealand game in particular, the atmosphere was electric. A little bit too electric, arguably. Now, England could clearly have done with a game-changing, 6-clobbering, top-order dominator in this tournament, and as the lightning forked about in the skies, I did half expect England coach Ashley Giles to wheel Kevin Pietersen out onto the pitch on a metal trolley wearing a Ned Kelly outfit to see if some natural electroshock therapy might fizzle him back to selectorial acceptability. If music be the food of cricket, play it in ear-bustingly loud 6-second snippets whenever anything happens. Whoever has compiled the playlist of short blasts of pop music to remind the crowds to be excited whenever a boundary is hit or a wicket is taken or someone breathes a bit or anything like that could really have done with a slightly broader range of tunes on their iPod. Watching on telly, there appears to be only 1, maybe 2 different bits of music used. T20 is now more than a decade old. Surely they must have been expecting more than 1 or 2 boundaries to be hit in every match. And why are dot balls not musically recognised as well? They're just as important in T20 as New Zealand and South Africa would no doubt testify after the game the other day. Why not blast out a nice soothing 7 seconds of Barber's Adagio or something whenever someone blocks a dot ball, and maybe some inaccessible experimental jazz for whenever Jade Dernbach comes onto bowl. Stand up, it's Morne Morkel news time. Morne Morkel is generally good at bowling. That is his job, and he's managed to keep it for a long time. But on Monday, he was thwacked for 50 runs in just 3 overs. He had what the pundits described as a bad day at the office. But if he were to replicate his performance in an office scenario, his bad day would result in at least 2 broken coffee machines, a photocopier irreparably jammed with lunch, confidential company information accidentally emailed to all known competitors, and a bucket of snakes on the loose under his boss's desk. I admit it is now some time since I did work in an office, but that was always how my bad days panned out. Besides, which is also why I no longer work in the reptile sanctuary. Anyway, why does playing sport badly always get compared to working badly in an office? Why is it never Morne Morkel, well, let's just say he had a bad day at the operating table? Would that not be more appropriate, particularly given the splatter pattern that his bowling generated on Monday? Nevertheless, with some dazzling bowling in the closing overs, Dale Steyn saved Morkel's bacon and grilled it and popped it in a bap with some ketchup before tucking it in Ross Taylor's pocket as he trudged off at the end, saying, "Here's a little snack for you to nibble on, in between asking your teammates exactly who formulated the genius strategy of keeping you off strike in the decisive overs of the match. Yum yum." Minor injury update. England's already suffering grievously with an injury crisis. Kevin Pietersen ruled out of the tournament with an inflamed press release. Ben Stokes also out after breaking a bone in his hand punching an inanimate object, and Let he who has never broken a bone in his hand punching an inanimate object cast the first stone before you start blaming him for it. And perhaps most damagingly of all, hard-hitting early 20th century all-rounder Gilbert Jessop, also ruled out due to having died in 1955. But at last, some good news for England. Jade Dernbach should be fit for the next match, despite a fight breaking out between two of his tattoos. The copiously inked fast bowler explained, "I'm a massive fan of 17th century British science, so I had new tattoos done the other day of Isaac Newton and Robert Hooke, two absolutely cracking physicists, one on each knee. But what I didn't know when I had those tattoos done was that Hooke and Newton absolutely hated each other. I woke up in the night to find my knees repeatedly smashing together against each other and calling each other names. It was really painful. My left knee then shouted something like gravity, schmavity, and frankly it all kicked off. Luckily, after a couple of hours," said Dernbach, "the team doctor came in and popped me in some stirrups, whilst the team tattooist quickly inked a moustache on Newton to make him look more like the Argentinian footballer Mario Kempes, with whom Hooke had no known beef. Since then, I've been fine." Dernbach, fit to carry on. Here endeth the cricket. That is all from the ZaltZone this week. Until next week, may Hoyt's sixes, clubbed over the mid-wicket boundary, rain upon your happy heads. Goodbye.
But if we have to talk about Dale Steyn, Darryl, and those are the figures he ends with. 4 overs, 4 for 17. You could tell from the figures itself as to why it's match winning. But Faf du Plessis used him in an interesting way.